everybody, and welcome to the Harry Potter Trading Card Game Podcast. My name is Sammy,
I'm Huamin.
and today we are essentially going to do a recap of the past couple of months just because a lot has happened, and we just want to kind of talk about it and share what has happened, what's currently happening this week, and then what's going to be happening over the next couple of months. So, yeah, let's dive into it. The first thing that kind of happened, we'll go in chronological order, was we had a regular tournament in February. And we just want to talk kind of generally about the tournament. We're not going to go into everybody's decks, but we'll talk about kind of the themes that we saw from it.
This was a pretty small tournament with about 7 people, and I think this is the second time in a row that Lynch has won.
Yeah, I think it
Yeah,
is.
so after, I guess it's what, Morph's breakout deck last tournament, Griffin decided to jump on it, and we got two Lynches in the top three. One, of course, being Morph and the other being Griffin.
Yep.
But it's also interesting to know that all four of like the top decks are kind of just like very spell heavy. Let's get big spells out faster than normal and just slam them with things. So
Yeah, it's been
uh,
really interesting to watch kind of that shift.
again, we go back to that nobody is playing creatures. Why creatures are still powerful. We'll get to that in a little bit. Interesting seeing it. The pendulum swing a different way. So,
Yeah, and you kind of see this in other games. I think most people will kind of notice this from Magic that like certain metas just have a lot of
mhm.
really aggro stuff or a lot of control or whatever. And I would say before we banned Scribble Force and everything a couple years ago, control really was a lot of what people played and what won a lot of stuff. That pendulum, as you said, has definitely swung to, I don't know if like spell aggro is the correct term to use, but rather than control, it's just I don't know, just aggro, just spells,
And it's ramp. That's
ramp,
like
yeah.
kind of the term I would call it, like ramp into good stuff.
Yeah, like really big, just fun spells that we really couldn't play before either. So like people have been playing out whatever their big spells are that cost like 10 or 11 power, and we couldn't really play these before because control either stopped you from doing it or whatever else in the game, it was just too slow. And so now all of this stuff is viable to play, but now it seems like it's maybe the most thing that people should play because the top four decks all played it. So I don't know what that means. I don't know. Well, we'll see next tournament how stuff shifts based on that. But it definitely seems like that's just the direction that either is the best for tournaments currently, or that's just the most fun.
Yeah, definitely a lot of people just play things that they think are fun. Shout outs to Drew on Weatherby again.
It was wonderful. And it's also wild to play it because like you just play your normal stuff and then he's just like, well, because you played blah blah blah, I'm gonna get blah 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 for free. Then he'll
Yeah,
get like a free location or sorry, a free
adventure.
yes, or a character or something. And then you're just like, all right, well, you just got 4 action worth of value, and it's just something you never thought about.
Super cool, but also what a nightmare to build a deck.
Yeah. Yeah, like the fact that he has to track what everybody plays every turn and remember it, and then also know what the top cards are that are played to match letters when he's building a deck, and then to be restricted in that way, like it's just more thinking than I want to do. Way more
Yeah.
thinking. But it's
Yeah.
it's a cool deck.
It is very cool. And then the other thing that you had to note on was the Trelawney deck that Kenny played, which did not
Yeah.
perform very well. But
Yeah,
whenever I see
sadly.
no hands in Trelawney, I know I'm in for a good time.
Yeah, no, it was really cool, and it was kind of just like the traditional shell of 3 month long match. He had it in Interhouse
Mhm.
Final, which was interesting,
Mhm.
and then Unfogging the Future, Catch the Snitch, Swallowed Snitch, like a lot of that stuff. And I think it might just be in this area where we have a lot of rampy spell decks that are just going very quickly, and a lot of the spells are pretty efficient at removing stuff. Maybe it's just a little too slow for what all these other decks are trying to do, which is
Yeah,
unfortunate.
definitely. But very funny. Also, shout out to my favorite card, Hogwarts Pipes.
Yeah, when I saw that in the deck, I was like, "Wait a minute, this is not serious," but it was serious.
It's a good card.
Yeah,
It's not. But I can
oh
pretend
my
it's a
God.
good card and give you bad advice.
Yeah,
This
that's
is what
true.
I'm allowed to do.
Well, so I talked to Kenny, I think right before he submitted the deck or during the tournament or something, and he was like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, if I have Trelawney and I'm trying to like set up a no hand, doing damage from the bottom of the deck rather than the top just makes
Yeah.
sense." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Your logic is 100% correct. Like, yes, I agree. The execution is a little faltering. It's just
Yeah.
not quite there. So the
Mhm.
intention was good, the thought was good, the execution just not good." sadly.
Yeah.
And I really love that deck. Like I when I used to play before we started making cards, and I did a lot of
Mhm.
match decks, and I love just winning matches. And now that's not really a thing that happens as much, and we just haven't been
No.
able to like crack how to make that really work. So I was so happy to see a match deck in this tournament, regardless of how it did.
Yeah, I just, as you said before, I think that like, yeah, the big stuff is probably outpacing the pace of what cheating out match wins can actually achieve. I think the upper limit of like a match win has always been like 15 damage since the '05, and we
Yeah,
haven't really done anything to raise that cap, which is, well, it's also a very problematic space to be in for design.
yeah.
Like, how do you balance a one cost card with doing something more powerful than dealing 15 damage to face?
Yeah, when we were designing Quidditch World Finals, we made, what was it, the World Cup
But
match or something.
yeah, World Cup Finals,
Yeah, something like that.
something or
And
other.
we struggled for a while. We were like, how much damage should you have to do, or what should you have to do to win this? And then what is
Hmm.
a prize that feels like it is world final worthy to be on that match?
Yeah,
And the best we could do was a permanent action. And we tried a couple of other things, but just nothing really felt appropriate. And then try balancing like the win with the prize you get, it's so complicated. So we're here. But so that actually makes me think of an interesting question. The Trelawney deck is, I don't want to necessarily say it's like a combo deck, but you're trying to use Trelawney to set up no hands in a match and do damage, and like it's like a mini combo-y kind of thing. And we
it's
didn't,
definitely a combo.
yeah, and so we didn't really see any combo decks in this tournament. So
Uh,
I'm curious, just kind of your thoughts if like these big rampy spell things are kind of what four of the top or all four of the top decks did. Where do you think this leaves the combo stuff?
I think that I would say that Benjamin's deck is a combo deck. If he's playing like Flying Laps into Bagman's Gamble, trying to just like draw a bunch of cards and then hit you with
Okay, yeah,
really
fair.
big stuff that like where his deck is 30 lessons. You don't do
That's
that
crazy.
unless you're, yeah, unless you're doing some very interesting things. Yeah, I think that these decks are like kind of jiving, but like they're also kind of still also occupying that space of rampant to big stuff because usually that's what combos do. Combos are usually locked into higher cost levels. It's just different than what I think you or both of the Lynch decks are doing, where that Benjamin's deck is almost entirely focused on let me get up to there, and then I'm going to explode you in like one turn with my Victory Party platform into Flying Laps Bagman's Gamble, where the Lynch decks are like, hey, I'm going to be accruing tempo advantages as I start to ramp up. And that's like what's so strong about Lynch is that as you're disrupting your opponent, you're also like ramping yourself and drawing more cards.
Yeah, super strong. Yeah, okay. I agree with all of that. I don't necessarily think that like combo's in a bad spot necessarily, but
Yeah.
it's interesting to see this burst of these more like ramp spell decks. And we'll see
Yeah.
kind of what happens. What's also interesting about these rampy spell decks kind of taking the top four spots is the original game. I think kind of what we do now, the percentage and the breakdown of the card type leans very
Hmm.
heavily every set into spells, which
Yeah.
it is fine and like it makes sense for the world. And you know, you think about wizards casting spells, so all of that flavor and everything else makes sense. But it's interesting that like that super big splashy spell thing never came till now, even though that was kind of a big design focus. So I'm happy to see it.
They should have just hired us 20 years ago, right?
They should have hired 8-year-old me to do this
Yes,
design.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
But yeah, so it was a cool tournament.
Mhm.
We have a new set that came out that will affect the next tournament in May, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But before we talk about that, we want to talk about an event that just ended a couple of weeks ago, and it was the first of our random rotating event formats. I'm not sure what to call them actually, themed events.
Yeah, themed
So
events sounds a lot
yeah,
better.
it sounds way better. So the entire idea, and we've talked about this before, was we will pick a theme, everybody builds a deck around the theme. This
Mhm.
event's theme was common cards only, except for your starter, which could be whatever because most characters are rare. And it was really interesting. I played in the event. My deck was built around Bagman's Gamble. I played the card exactly one time. and it actually did the thing playing other cards that I was not expecting. So it was such an interesting event for many reasons. But let's kind of break down real briefly the decks people use and like what they focused on, and then we'll get into like some highlights.
Yeah. So here we actually see quite a lot of creatures. The
So
winning
many
deck was
creatures.
actually, yeah, it was a pretty typical like blast from the past of, hey, I'm just gonna play creatures and then I'm gonna play transfig removal and hope you die to my creatures as I disrupt you.
You know, that's a really great way to put it. Playing in the tournament, it felt like the entire tournament was a blast from 25 years ago. Like, so people were still using new cards, some people were using the original five cards, so it was still a
Mhm.
mix, but way more O5 cards popped up than I thought were going to, and it was
Mhm.
incredible. But also just kind of like the general deck structure, I felt like resembled the original five minus characters quite a bit, which was just really, really interesting.
Especially like I think a lot of the problematic like cards in O5 are locked to higher rarities.
Yes, with the
Uh,
exception of Scribble fours and whatnot.
yeah. Well, why is Scribble 4 a common? Let's not
Yeah,
talk
I
about
don't
that.
know.
Picking on Neville, why is that a common? I don't know.
Somebody
But
made an
yeah,
interesting choice.
yes, yeah. All of the character stuff though, locked away,
Yep.
which is I think very good for this. All of the problematic adventures are like I think Caught by Snape is like an uncommon. It was banned anyways, even if it was common, but like that's gone through the arch as a rare. Actually, I don't think they made a single common adventure in
No, they didn't.
O5.
Yeah. So like you're right. All of the like two action cards were removed, and that changed the entire game. Like everything was different because of that.
Yeah, we had, as I said, this Transfig Creatures deck, very classic thing at top, and then right below that was a card or a deck from Nikki playing cards that are near and dear to my heart. Every single four cost
It
potion,
was
deal four
incredible.
damage. Yeah,
I loved it.
like every single one possible, like is just jammed into this deck, which is
Yep.
so good.
And then I talked to Nikki a little bit, and the pressing to not did matter, I think, a little bit, if that's what I'm thinking
Mhm.
about. So like that clause was rather relevant to the common
Yeah.
only event, which I think it was, sorry, we'll get back to what you were talking about, but I think it's a really cool thing that like cards
Mhm.
that don't matter when you have these rare level cards that can do all these things, like these common level ones that have this little bit of an upside entirely shifted in power level in this event. And that was just really cool to see.
And I mean, that's like also mission accomplished, right? Event.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
job on creating diversity
Yeah, it was
by going
awesome.
back 20 years ago.
Yep.
There's that one. And then we had a couple other things like Morph with his item deck, trying to deal damage with items, which is a very ambitious
Yeah.
proposition. But he seemed to make it work out pretty well. A couple more like burn and creature decks after that.
Yeah, it was very focused on just like an aggro burn thing. But whether it was burn, aggro, whatever, with creatures or spells, like that was kind of what people were doing. And like you couldn't really do control in the same way because
Yeah.
you don't like all those pieces are the characters, adventures, whatever, or like the uncommon or rare items or events. So all of that was just kind of like pulled away. So it was so interesting.
And I also on our Discord, like I was watching the chatter of people after the event, and it seemed that everyone was like very happy playing it, thought it was interesting, which was really nice.
Oh yeah, people
Even
had a
some
really good
people,
time.
yeah, even people that were like, "Oh, originally I thought I wasn't gonna enjoy it or whatever," they said, "Wow, after playing it, it was great."
Yeah, I thought when I had to sit down to like build my deck, I was like,
Mhm.
God, I don't want to do this. I really hate this. And then and then I built the deck and I'm like, oh, okay, fine. And then I played my first game and just the diversity of cards that I just never see anymore was
Mhm.
awesome. It was so much fun. And after the first game, I'm like, okay, this is actually a lot of fun, and this is way different than what I thought, and this is great. And you're right, like everybody just had a really good time. People were really focusing on just like, I'm having fun doing this more than
Mhm.
anything else. And like that right there, mission accomplished. People just had fun and they got to play weird cards. It was great. It was so much fun.
When is the next theme tournament?
Yeah, so we
Oh, wait.
will do a regular tournament in May, and then we may do a themed event sometime over summer, either in June or July, probably, because we have other announcements coming up later that we will talk about too
Yep.
that might change that just a little bit. And we will be having a lot of stuff in the background going on. on the design team, but we'll talk about all that later. So plan on like June or July. Not sure
Yeah.
what the theme will be, but I think it'll be fun. Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be as good as this one or better.
I hope
We'll
so.
see. Yeah.
And I do just want to highlight some of the stuff from the tournament that was like really cool. So Stream of Flames, we all know is a good card, and it just in this area where everybody played burn and creatures, it did exactly what you wanted to at exactly the right cost for the right amount of damage. Because most common creatures have at most 3 health. So
Yeah.
in terms of card design, I don't know what designer from Wizard of the Coast made Stream of Flames, but like kudos to you because you did a perfect card. I think that card is near as perfect as it can be.
It's also definitely like this kind of effect has also been seen in other card games. So,
Oh yeah. Yeah,
maybe this
it's
is the
perfect.
first. I don't know if it's the first or not, but it's a good effect.
It's very good. Yeah.
Definitely tempo plus removal.
One thing that some people said was that the Quidditch deck didn't actually change much in this tournament, which really
Yeah.
falls back on us to think about the Quidditch rarities we're giving cards, but they didn't really have to change much. So that was kind of a letdown that Quidditch didn't get to like explore a new area.
Mhm.
But
I
it's fine.
kind of disagree. I think that Quidditch, like the top end, is kind of missing.
True,
So stuff
yes.
like Out of Control, Reign of Bludgers, these are like all cards that really flip the switch on like the tempo gain and like generate so much value for a single action.
Yes.
And you just don't have those anymore when you switch to common. So you have to play kind of like a little bit more of a fair game, I want to say.
More of a fair game. Yeah, no, you're right. Yes.
But everyone's playing a fair game
And
when it's
during a
common.
comments only. True, very true. But yeah, so I thought it was also interesting to have to like think about different cards to play to get the same results as those like higher end cards. So it was just a real it was a lot of interesting deck building and a lot of
Mhm.
interesting having to search through common only cards and just be kind of exposed to this new world that we don't dive into in the same way. So it was just all very interesting.
That is also possibly the fifth or sixth time that you've used the word interesting to
It
describe this
was a
event.
really
It is
cool
very interesting.
tournament. It was
Yeah.
really interesting. I don't know how else to describe it. But
Yeah. Right.
the last comment I think about this is that
Mhm.
two people played one person, somebody else played in something else, but Ben played Polyakov as like an anti-creature starter. I think with the idea that if everybody's going to be playing creatures because it's common only, you want some way to kind of easily deal with them. And I honestly
Mhm.
wish I had thought about that because that was such a genius idea. And then I was talking to somebody else afterwards, and he was talking about if he had played, he would have started Walden, who also
Mhm.
just reduces creature damage. So
Yeah.
it was really interesting to see what people did and to kind of learn lessons about a common only event and like the different things that you have to think about that I just did not think about. So I really liked that aspect of it as well.
That's also like such a bold choice to be like, all right,
It
my
is.
starting character is just going to be completely useless against every other deck. Fuck.
But I mean, for what, 3 of the decks maybe it worked out. So, I don't know. It did decent. But yeah, so if you guys have ideas for other themed events that you think would be fun, feel free to post them in our Discord. Let us know. You can post them in whatever channel, and we kind of watch all the channels. We do take kind of ideas from people, and we have a running list of potential themed events. So please share your ideas with us. We're not going to guarantee that we'll get to your event, but we will try to think about if we want to do that one.
On to the next thing. We already briefly talked about it, but there was a new mini set that dropped, Lost Magic 1, hoping that there's more Lost Magic after this, which
Yeah.
was a small set meant to bridge between Quidditch World Finals and the second to last set in GOF block-ish thing, whatever we're calling these.
Yes.
Which
Blocks. Yeah. Yeah.
Triwizard Tournament should be coming out at some point in later this year, hopefully.
Yes.
But yeah, it was a set of 20 cards that was kind of meant to fill in the gaps on things that were missing from the first three books and try to also give a little bit more, in as much as like a 20 card set can do for a variety of different play styles, try to flesh out existing play styles a little, which usually meant like just one card given to each strategy that we're trying to help here.
Yeah, and
So
hopefully one card, it's not gonna like make or break it, but hopefully it makes it enough that the deck is like, okay, maybe I'm not like now, top tier tournament, but I can compete a little more than I previously did. So that's kind of the help. And they do to some extent, but there's better deck builders than I, and hopefully they will build something cool with these cards. And to give some quick examples of the stuff that was missing that we filled in was, for example, Filch's Office. That's not really on a card yet. The Bloody Baron's not on a card, and just some other moments like the sorting ceremony is not on a card. So these are things that we were like, well, we either have art that we really loved, and we wanted to put on a card, or we just had these
Mhm.
things that people have been asking for. Like people have wanted a Bloody Baron for quite a while. I don't remember
Mhm.
why, but we chose not to make prongs for Echoes of the Past,
That's
or
because Bronze is dead.
well, yes, but like as just like
Spoiler
a
alert.
throwback card.
I believe there was a discussion on whether we wanted to make prongs or not, and we were like, I want to say it was me. I was like, no, we don't need prongs. Prongs is dead. We can save that for Lost Magic.
Possibly, yes.
Now that Lost Magic's here, we have prongs.
Now we have rugs. There you go. But yeah, so like that just kind of gives you guys an idea. Like we've thrown around this idea for a while. Whenever there's a
Yeah.
card where we're like, this doesn't fit into the set, we're like, it's a lost magic card. And we've just been saying this for literally years as like this catch-all
Um,
like basin, and now we finally have made it the first one. So, and if
yeah.
there are future cards that you're like, wow, you guys really missed this moment or this character, because there were more things that didn't make it into the set. For example, Ernie
Mhm.
the Hufflepuff was
Mechanism.
originally
Oh,
a
jeez.
card, and then we pulled him out to make
Oh,
room for
yeah.
other stuff. So like
That was
that was so sad because I wanted another Hufflepuff so bad because I'm a puff, but here we
that
are.
was literally Heir of Slytherin design, right?
I think we started at that point, yeah, and then we
Yeah.
put him on pause, and then we pulled him back into this, and then we pulled him out as one of like the last two cards to make room for one of the last two, and it was so sad. And so Ernie just keeps getting shafted. I'm so sorry.
Mhm.
We want to make you into a card, and we will one day. This is not that set, sadly.
Yeah, today is not that
No,
day. Maybe Lost Magic too.
maybe,
Lost
yeah.
Magic 1, it does suggest though that there will be a Lost Magic 2.
Yeah, so we recognize, and I'm sure you all have picked up on some moments from the first two sets for the Goblet of Fire set, block, whatever, that we just missed a couple of things. And Goblet of Fire is the biggest book. That's why there's going to be four sets for it. And there's
Mhm.
just stuff that we can't get to, even with four sets. And like our upcoming set is only going to be probably 75 cards, so it's a little smaller than the 90. So there's just these design things that are going to make them smaller, maybe. So hopefully we'll have more Lost Magic. I'm
At some
I'm
point.
hoping because it's just a cool thing.
Yeah.
And there's also like art that we find that
Mhm.
artists draw after we're done, and I'm like, I want to use this, but it's for book two. And so we will try to use it in that way as well. People have already mentioned that there's a lot of Vlad's artwork in this set, and he drew a lot of stuff from the first two books after we were done with the first two books, and we're like, well, crap. So a lot of his art came on cards too.
That set is out now online elsewhere. Feel free to look through them if you haven't already. Make decks with them. It should be cool. It should be a nice little shake up to what's coming up ahead.
Can you be any more vague with what's coming up ahead?
I don't even know what's coming up ahead, so yeah. I don't know how much more specific I could be.
No, that's totally
Besides,
fine.
Gen Con. Gen Con is up ahead. I know this.
Yeah, so big announcement is Gen Con is officially back. We were there from, God, I think 2014, I think, all the way through 2019, so 5 or 6 years. And then COVID hit and Gen Con was shut down for 2020. And then in 2021, we talked about going back, but there was just still a lot of concerns at that time about COVID and everything. So we decided no, even though Gen Con reopened. And then 2022 occurred, and there was still kind of this uncertainty about it. And then we have just been unable to make it happen from 23 onwards. This year, we have submitted events. We will have 4 events, and we are super excited about them. Excited to be back, see all of you guys in person, to meet all of you, play with revival cards, original cards. I'm just so excited for this. is going to be so much fun.
So we're gonna have in reverse chronological order, I think.
Maybe we should switch that so the first one comes first.
Okay, in chronological order, we're gonna do a learn to play event. So, like, if you haven't ever played this game before, you can. I would be wondering why you're listening to this podcast, but welcome.
Welcome. And I will say for that, we will provide everything. You don't need to
Yeah,
bring
just
anything. We'll bring play mats with directions, with like card zones. We will bring decks for you. You can take some of the decks home. These will be intro level decks for a first time player, and we'll give you everything you need.
so you can just come up and play. The second one, we're going to be doing a draft. I don't think we've quite hashed out exactly what's going to be happening in this draft yet, but we will have some sort of limited event for
Yes.
people to pass around actual physical revival cards and make a deck out of those. So
Yes.
that'll
And
be
and the
cool.
original cards too.
Oh yeah, yes, and
Yeah.
original cards. I assume we're probably going to do something like the study boosters of Quiz
Yeah.
World Finals, just because sets are not that large in
Yeah.
Revival.
Exactly. Yeah.
Uh,
So, and again, we'll provide everything for the draft event too.
and then there'll be a classic tournament, which things will not be provided there. Please bring your own classic deck.
Yeah. Yes, for the two big tournaments, you need your own stuff. We will not we'll provide a playmat maybe if you want that, but that's it.
Yeah, and then also please bring physical cards. Please don't bring a laptop and be
Yes.
like, I'm ready to play on Untap.
Yeah, no.
That would not really go well.
Correct. And
So.
proxies are fine. If you want to just like write the name of the card on a piece of paper because you can't print out cards, fine.
Mhm.
Make sure it's clearly written and you will have to submit a deck list and somebody will check all of your cards. But yeah,
I
whatever you need is going to be okay.
also, please, if you're going to proxy cards, like make sure that there is the effect of the card on the card. Don't just have like a name because we don't want to have our players be like, oh my God, what is this card? I need to look through 1,000 card database to find what card you're actually playing against me.
Exactly. Yes.
So it'll be a classic tournament and then there will be a revival tournament as well.
So no matter what you like, whether you like sealed stuff, whether you like constructed, classic, revival, whatever, if you just want to come
Or you're
out
a
and
new
like,
player.
yeah, or new, or you just want to come out and you just want to chat with us and look at the cards, like we'll be there. We're very excited to do this with all of you and whatnot. So yeah, that's going to be happening. It'll be July 30th through August 2nd. We will have exact dates, times, and where in the event hall we will be closer to the event. They have not assigned that stuff yet, so that will be upcoming. Check our website. We'll have it on our Facebook, Discord, Instagram, probably. So just look for all of that stuff on there.
And we'll probably have another podcast at some point
Yeah.
where we will talk about it in between when we get the assignments of stuff and when Gen Con actually happens. Hopefully.
Yes, the plan would be to, yes. And then we will also have prizes as well. There were prizes in the past that were of various sorts, and we will have the same various sorted prizes as well. Not exactly sure what they all will be at this time. We have some ideas, but yeah, so there'll be prizes for winners and whatnot. So please come and enjoy and have some fun with us.
That'll
Yeah.
be cool. Hope to
Yeah.
see you there.
And we will say nothing else about this, but we are planning a surprise for those who attend. So if you are attending, you should have a nice surprise. It is going to be a lot of fun. So look forward to that too. I'm going
Very
to be super
nebulous.
vague. I know, I'm going to be very vague.
Yeah. That's just the theme of this
It really
podcast,
is, which is
very
fine.
vague.
Anyway,
Extremely nebulous
yeah.
musings about the future.
Yeah, for a recap episode, this is a very vague episode, which is fine. It's fine.
But it's also okay because we've gone into the future now. We have finished our recap,
Yes.
which was
Yes.
everything that happened before, and now we're moving on into future timelines where
Yeah.
things are vague and nebulous.
Yeah, which actually brings us to the last thing that we have on this recap, future, whatever you want to call it, episode, where we are going to spoil a card from the upcoming large set, which will come out sometime later this year, called the Triwizard Cup.
So this is going to be an item in Transfig that makes your cards cost a lot less. So currently it's a 5 cost card, which says your cards need 3 less power to play. And whenever you play a card, your opponent may choose one to either draw a card, do 2 damage to you, or heal 2 cards. It's a very like risk reward of I'm gonna play it, I'm gonna ramp a lot. Numbers might change on this thing. There's probably a lot of like tweaking that needs to be done about this design, but I'm pretty happy about this design currently of I'm gonna play this, gonna play big stuff. You get some sort of small benefit, but please don't kill me before I kill you.
Yes, which I think is going to be a really interesting thing. We've actually played it in some playtesting already, and
Mhm.
it's really interesting to play with. We've been playtesting a lot of cards from this upcoming big set already, and lots of cool stuff that has just been, again, I'm going to go back to interesting, and I'm going to use that word again because that's how I can
Yeah.
just, that's the best word I have right now.
Uh,
But yeah,
and I do want to be clear that, yeah, this card is whenever you play a card, your opponent gets something, not you. So
yes.
it ramps you up a lot, but your opponent is now doing bad things to you. Interesting design, hopefully. It'll see play. Seems to fit possibly into all these like big stuff decks that we've been seeing currently. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. I think a lot of the cards are going to be great.
And hopefully we'll see a little bit more like interaction and other stuff with the set because it is the Tri-Wizard tournament, and one of the things that we've been trying to bake into it is like a lot of opponent interaction within the cards that you play. So hopefully that will be a nice, interesting space to just explore how far can we push these cards to give you a benefit, but also your opponent a benefit as well. Yep.
But until then, we hope that you guys enjoy Lost Magic 1 and the 20 new cards that come from that, and just kind of playing a bunch of other stuff and whatnot, because it is just going to be a lot of fun.
It's gonna be interesting.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's about it. That's all we
Yeah.
got for you today.
Yeah, it was a nice, quick wrap up. A couple of things we will be posting about the May tournament sometime in the next month, like later half of April. So if you're interested in playing, play test some of the new cards, play test some decks, and in May we will have the next tournament. And I think that's all that we have to say. So
Yeah.
we'll see you guys.
Peace.